I'm here with Mary, and we are continuing our stewardship campaign videos. Mary's going to talk about something that God has entrusted to her care.
When Pastor Kaylin asked me to do this little interview, she said, "What would you like to speak about?" And I have many, many blessings in my life. So I was kind of indecisive. There's several things that I believe are gifts from God, not just several, but many. I did decide to talk about my creativity because at this point in my life, I'm engrossed in creating things, whether it's with wood or fabric or paper. I'm just having such an enjoyable time with my gift. And the first question she asked me was, "What has God entrusted to your care?" And there it is. There's a certain amount of creativity, a love of art, a love of learning, a love of observing art and appreciating it. Um, Years ago, a friend gave me a little white plaque that was covered with brightly colored folk art flowers and dots, and it said, "Always feed your creative spirit." And that has truly become a mantra in my life. I find that if I am aware and feeding my creative spirit, acknowledging that gift that God gave me, I am just so much more at peace. And my entire being and my interaction with my family, my friends, my world, if you will, as long as I take care of and feed my creative spirit, I'm on an even keel. And then Pastor asked me, "How do you care for what God has entrusted to you?" And I have to admit that my husband Butch would probably say, "I feed it by going to Michael's too often." So, but that's not true. What is true is that if I'm just aware of it and aware of, of the need, rather than sitting around thinking, "Oh, I should be doing this or I should be doing that," if I'm just aware of, I need to feed my creative spirit, I need to be involved in a process of creating something or thinking about something. God's blessed me with so many opportunities to meet and travel and meet people that I've developed long lasting friendships with. Um, I've got a note here that says, "Now in my golden years, God's shown me that it's not only permissible, but it's absolutely necessary." When I was raising my girls and working and maintaining a household, the creativity was always there, but the time wasn't always there. And it's essential. It's essential to acknowledge the gift for me that God's given to me, and to feed my creative spirit and to nurture it. Um, and then the next question was, how does being a steward of these things bless you? Well, again, I'm repeating myself, but just being aware and acknowledging and accepting my need to do these things, whether it's working with paint, paper out in the garage, as long as I have something on the board, something rattling around in my mind. Um, I so often I find myself just coming to an abrupt stop in whatever I'm doing, and thanking God, thanking God for my life and for the many gifts, and especially the creativity that He's given me. And the last question was, how do these things um, that God has entrusted to you become a blessing to others? And while I don't think that my creativity blesses the entire world, I do know that it has caused many children to smile, many adults to hug me in appreciation when I've given them a silly card that was made just for them, or perhaps a personalized gnome or something. Um, there's a three-letter drawing, and it says "boy," and you take those words and you hook them up with lines, and you create a drawing of a little boy. And I can't begin to remember or count the number of times that I've used that in communicating with children, whether it was someone who was upset or angry, or maybe they were trying to be quiet while the grown-ups were talking, and you just grab a little pencil and you write the word boy, and all of a sudden you get the oohs and ahs like it's some magical thing, and it really is just a simple gesture. And the same thing goes for adults. I can make a personalized doodah, if you will. That's a word of mine, but it's just anything. And if you personalize it and you give it to someone and they hug you and they tell you how much they enjoy it and appreciate it, it's heartwarming. And then I do have to mention there are the things like Vacation Bible School, when you walk in and you have giraffes and elephants and palm trees growing out of your hat. And what a joy that is. That gives me that avenue to communicate and to travel with the kids. I'm truly blessed in that way. And as I said earlier, I don't know that the gifts that God has given me has blessed the entire world in any way, but I do believe that every little thing we do, if we are aware, not only aware of others people's needs, but aware of and acknowledge our needs so that we can build and feed them, if you will, to share with other people. Just this morning I had an experience, and I was talking to a friend, and the phrase, a little pebble moves a lot of water, and that's true, whether it's art or your voice, and some of you who are blessed to cook and bake. We have to not accept, but we have to be aware of, and we have to feed the gifts that God's given us as individuals. Not just our responsibilities and our duties, but our gifts. What has He given you? What has He given me to share with the rest of the world, with our neighbor, with a friend? It doesn't have to be the whole world to make a big movement.
Thank you, Mary. I just want to add something that inspired me as you were talking. There's a saying by a theologian, and I can't think of his name right now, but it is, your calling is where your greatest joy meets the world's deepest need. And I think that's true in your life. So thank you for finding that place and being aware of that place. And I still have my VBS hat, and I wore it on a Zoom call to cheer everybody up when it wasn't going to be the best meeting. So thank you so much, Mary, and blessings as you feed your creative spirit.
Thank you, Pastor. God bless you and everyone else.